layer onto that the density bonuses that were allocated, 20 years ago for major thoroughfares and corridors. I think that was SB 35. There has since been a milieu of assembly bills and Senate bills that have stacked on different layers of density bonus allocations that you can implement, provided that you provide some type of affordable element to that housing complex. But then on top of that, the city of Los Angeles post-COVID has said, well, actually, if there was an apartment building, if there's multifamily spaces on the building, on the lot now, that absolutely means that you're going to need to replace those units with affordable units. And so, there used to be a time when you could sell an 8-unit building and you could vacate the building and build a 20-unit building or something to that effect because it made sense. Or, there was a market for converting them into condominiums. There was a market for tearing them down and building condominiums. All of that is gone because you have to replace with affordable. And you have to replace these days. You are no longer really allowed to replace. Most buildings that are built today are subject to rent control again today as well. So you've got those layers, and then you have these TOC layers, which are the transit-oriented community, and that's essentially, again, mapping over where the buses and the public transportation is. So then there's huge density allocations that are allowed if you use those, you fall within that map, and there are reductions in the parking map. So again, for the last 10 years until COVID, the TOC, maybe it was 5 years, the TOC guidelines really inflated the value of the properties that fell within the TOC, high traffic areas. There was the TOC 1, 2, 3, and 4, I believe there was, even 5, but most of them were 1 through 3 was your typical TOC allocation. And that drove a lot of traffic to those spaces. So again, this is where policy, right, as a primer, where when government sets policy, it will track the capital. So the TOC guidelines allowed the density that, basically everyone the developers wanted to utilize. This tracked it into pigeonholed it into a particular parts of the city. There's nothing wrong with that per se. But that also then inflated the value of the land then benefits from the demand curve, right? So the supply and demand. So there's limited supply of high density, spaces now. Now the demand goes up for those spaces, price goes up, right? So everything kind of ratcheted up utilizing the TOC.